What is up, guys? NYKia31 here, and this is a video tutorial for Madden 25 where I'm going to talk about using your defensive lineman, getting the most out of your user control DL play, how to do various levels of or various types of pass rush moves, block shedding, reading plays, all of that good stuff to help maximize your user DL play. Contrary to popular belief, user defensive line play does have some virtues. It does have some disadvantages. One, it puts much more of an onus on you for really knowing the other 11 guys in your roster, because you're not going to be making user plays in coverage or user plays in pursuit with linebackers and safeties to compensate for players or the AI's weaknesses. So it really puts more of an onus on you to know your roster, know your opponent's tendencies, and play call much sharper than if your users are controlling a guy who plays in space, because when you are controlling a linebacker or a safety, the advantage of doing that is that you can cover up for things that the play is not designed to call or isn't programmed to cover very well. So let's get started. The first step is knowing your user control player. Where am I? What am I trying to do? Let's go back. Depth chart. There we go. And I'm using my JETS Jets. And one of the Jets' strengths on defense is they have a lot of guys with strength, power, and the ability to shed blocks, like Muhammad Wilkerson. He's your prototype 3-4 style defensive end, or if you're playing in a 4-3, I like to move him to the 3 technique spot as opposed to the 1, and I'll get into that later on, the difference between your 3 technique defensive tackle and your 1 technique defensive tackle in my 4-3 setup video. But basically, the ratings that are going to be important for you as a user control player, outside of the athleticism, of course, the more athleticism you have at your speed pass rush position in a 4-3 or in the 3-4 with your outside linebacker, the better. And strength as well. Strength comes in handy when you're unable to shed the block versus the run. If you're unable to do that, at least you'll be able to hold your ground a little bit more and not get pancaked. That way you can kind of act as a placeholder for your linebackers to make plays. If you have a run blitz call in a run situation, you can tie up a blocker to help that linebacker shoot the gap. Or in a zone blitz situation or man blitz situation, if you don't beat the pass rusher, you're at least tying up a blocker so that the blitzer can have a free lane to run through. You're basically acting like an offensive lineman in reverse in those type of situations. Most zone blitzes are 5-on-5, where they work is in creating confusion. You have a lineman dropping back and a guy rushing from where the offensive line does not expect them to be rushing from, and part of that comes through fouling up the blocking assignment. If a tackle or a guard is engaged with a guy, he's not conscious of someone looping outside or blitzing inside. He's looking at someone who's dropping back in coverage and saying, wait a minute, why is he dropping back in coverage? Where's the rusher? And then boom, the quarterback sacked, or there's a turnover where the quarterback throws into a vacated spot and the lineman is there. That's how zone blitzes generally work. So strength is very important. Acceleration for closing. Awareness, well, you're the player, so your awareness should be greater than the computer's awareness. You're a human being. You know, one of the great wonders of the human brain is infinite adaptability. A computer is going to do what it's programmed to do. So your awareness and play recognition will always be better than a machine's. Tackle rating, self-explanatory. Hit power, self-explanatory. Power move. You're generally going to get a few types of power moves depending on how you steer yourself with the sticks. You want to picture the sticks as a steering wheel. If you have both the left stick and the right stick pressed straight down, you're going to get your power pocket push rush, your bull rush, your power bull rush. Steering both sticks to the left will give you, more often than not with a power rusher, a outside shoulder dip and bend animation. Inside will get you a club move where he will club with his outside arm. The finesse rusher, you're going to see spin moves and swim moves more often than not. Again, the type of move you're going to get when you are steering yourself with the sticks is going to be dependent on the power move and finesse move rating. Higher the power move, the more likely you're going to get those power rush, club, bull, and shoulder charge animations. Finesse move, you'll get the swim and the spin more often than not. Block shed. The way I like to handle block shedding is I like to engage, read the back, and then shed in the direction that he is going and run parallel to the back. Worst case scenario, I want to make him cut inside of me so he can be mopped up by my linebackers, who by at that time should be pursuing. The middle linebacker when I'm playing a 4-3 or one of the two inside backers in a 3-4. That's for the outside run. For the inside run, I'm looking to just take on the blocker at the point of attack, read where he's most likely to cut back, make him have to bounce it outside to one of my defensive ends, worst case scenario outside linebackers, or if not, just make the hit myself. And of course, one of the advantages of using a defensive lineman is that it's easier to make pre-snap adjustments to stock plays. You can play games as far as putting blitzers into hooks or spies, or putting defensive linemen into hooks or spies. You also want to pay attention to the guys that you are matched up against. Pick the most advantageous matchup. Ricochet Ferguson here for my Jets. Good pass blocker. Weak run blocker. Only 81 run block strength. 89 run block footwork. The difference between strength and footwork, the strength is their ability to hold and fire out and initiate contact. Footwork is how quickly they can get started. Their get off the line of scrimmage, or their get off, or their reaction time rather, when they're dropping back into pass protection. You know, Brick is much more of a pass blocking left tackle, which is common. Your left tackle is usually your best pass protector when you have a right-handed quarterback, which most teams do. So in run situations, I'd really want to control a guy who's matched up against Brick and look to scrape when I shed the block if the run is going away from me, or look to contain and pursue from the defensive end position by crashing down, but not losing contain, making him have to cut back. The interior of the line is where the Jets are weak in this particular case as far as pass protection. Again, good run blocking strength, but pass blocking, you're starting to get a little mediocre here. So if you have a good right defensive tackle, you'd want to take advantage of this matchup. Or if you have a good left defensive tackle, when you're underfronted, you're going to have that defensive tackle playing the 3 technique on this side, isolated one-on-one with this lineman, or in this particular case, Brian Winters. I'd take that matchup all day. Let's say say you're using the Houston Texans and you have J.J. Watt in a 4-3, like I do in an online league, at the first defensive tackle spot, the 3 defensive tackle spot, the 3 technique. When we're in a 4-3 under, he will flip to match up against, in this particular case, the left guard, Brian Winters. J.J. Watt with his pass rush moves in the 90s versus a guard with his pass block in the 81s or low 80s, you know, you take that all day long. Mangold. You know, solid, pretty balanced. Don't want to really test him too much or go up against him too much. Willie Colon. You know, again, just know your opponent's offensive line. Take a moment, out of the game, pause and scour his depth chart and take advantage of the matchup that is most in your favor. Typically, I like to control, when I'm controlling a defensive tackle, the guy least likely to be drawing a double team based on how the front is aligned. And of course, if I'm using a defensive end, I want to pick the guy who has the best chance of beating his matchup. Alright, so let's do some pass rushing. I'm going to start out with Muhammad Wilkerson at the left defensive end to your right. Just going to go garden variety 2-man under. We'll go against, I don't know. I only have one controller. I'm going to go straight down against Mr. Hunter here. I'm pushing him back. And I get that power club move there. Or that power rush, I should say. That wasn't really a club move. See how I'm able to drive him back and then dish rag him? That's just by going straight down. I thought he was doing a club move at first, but this is more of a power bull rush. His strength and his power move has him immediately off balance. He dish rags him. I'm able to get the hit. That's all power. That's going straight down on both the left and right stick. Again, we're just paying attention to the moves here. This time when I engage, I'm angling both sticks here to the outside, and I get a chop rip. Ball's already out, but I get the chop rip move by angling both sticks to the right. That time I went inside. To the left, he just straight sheds them. Again, I'm not concerned about the result of the play. I'm concerned about showing you guys the how to get the pass rush animations that you want and how to use these guys the most effectively as you can. So this is a power rusher. Again, that's straight power, straight down that time. Straight down on both sticks. So it's going to depend on strength differential as well as attribute differential. The higher the strength differential, and the higher the power or finesse move differential versus the pass rush strength and footwork differential will determine how you're going to match up against the pass protector. And Hunter is just overwhelmed. He just does not match up at all. Let's go back and look at Hunter. Or Howard, rather. Austin Howard. Thinking about that piece of trash they had last year. Good run blocker, but his pass blocking ratings are terrible. 77 strength, 67 footwork. He's no match for Wilk. '89 power move. And his strength is 94. He stands no chance. So on an island, he's going to dominate him more often than not. Now, on the other side, we have Sheldon Richardson. He's a finesse move rusher. 94 acceleration. So he's going to get off the ball quick for you, especially when you user control him. 94 acceleration makes up for the speed being slightly less than what I would like for a 4-3 defensive end, but he's perfect in a 3-4. And he'd be a terror at defensive tackle. That 94 acceleration, he's going to get off the ball really quick on the interior. And he's got respectable strength as well. Now, he's only a rookie, so his finesse move... I'm sorry, he's still a power rusher. I thought he was a finesse rusher for some reason. But his power move is only 82. But you see how he's stymied by Brick? You know, same type of rusher, but this time the matchup isn't as favorable. Brick just, you know, stops him dead in his tracks. So I'm going to try to beat him to the outside with speed, as opposed to power. Because of the acceleration. Now, you see the difference there when I started my rush outside, then bent back in? When I tried to take on Brick directly, he got stopped. Here I'm charging straight upfield, outside. This is where his speed and acceleration will kick in. And now I have him off kilter and I'm able to go back inside. Again, knowing your rusher. He's not as strong as Wilkerson at the point of attack, but he's more athletic with his acceleration. So boom, straight upside, the outside shoulder here. Then dip back inside. If I try to hit him on straight on, I'm going to get nowhere. I see again, when I'm in Brick's wheelhouse, he handles me. Alright, let's talk about interior pass rush here. Do the Jets have a finesse rusher? I don't believe they do. I'll have to get another team to show you the finesse rush movesets that you can get. Power, power, power. Yeah, they're all power rushers. Copels is a power rusher. Power, power. Yeah, I'm going to have to find another team to let you guys see the finesse move set. So this will be a two-part video, I guess. That's okay. More fun for us all. Well, Tim, I'm a bad motherfucker. He's a 79, but we want a guy better than that. Let's go dime, 4 down linemen. Go up against, you know, just 4 verts. Worst case scenario, you want to be able to push the pocket straight back into the quarterback's lap. Best case scenario, you want that. You want to be able to charge right into his face. Snacks Harrison, very strong again. Strength, and then just dish rags him and gets in the QB's face. Now let's talk about the difference between the 1 technique and the 4 technique. The 1 technique and the 3 technique defensive tackles. Harrison, he is lined up on the outside shoulder of the guard, inside shoulder of the right tackle. He is the 3 technique defensive tackle. He is going to be in a 4-man defensive front, base front, no under or over shifts. He is the more difficult of the 2 defensive tackle spots just out of base alignment to double team. If you try to double team him with a center, the problem that leaves is that this defensive tackle here, he's your 1 technique. He's lined up right in between the guard tackle gap there. That leaves him, if the center does not double team him and goes to double team the right guard, double teams with the right guard rather, all that guy has to do, that defensive tackle has to do, is just rip inside. He's got a free path at the quarterback. If the right tackle tries to double team that defensive tackle, well, that leaves a guy like Muhammad Wilkerson one-on-one with a back or with a tight end. Either way, that's to your advantage. So this guy, out of your 2 defensive tackles and a 4-man defensive line, needs to be the more athletic out of the 2. He needs to be the penetrator, the guy who can get off the line, accelerate, beat that guy one-on-one. This defensive tackle spot needs to be your stout man absorber. He's going to command a double team more often than not in a base alignment, and he needs to be strong enough to, well, if he is strong enough to beat it, that's fantastic, but at the very worst, he needs to command a double team so that your defensive ends can work one-on-one. You don't want to have a situation where a team can double team your left defensive end and handle this guy one-on-one with a center. You want to have as much stress as possible created along the offensive line and have them have to account for somebody with a double team, because that'll free up everybody else. And again here, you see the strength to initially rock him back and then the move set to get off. Now, if you have a guy who has a high strength rating but his pass rush move is kind of mediocre, he'll get to this point where he's pushing him back, which is, again, your worst case scenario, which you want to be your worst case scenario, but he won't have the ability to get off of him and finish. And that was generated by going straight down on both sticks. This time I went right on both sticks, and I get the same dish rag after I jolt him back to the right. And again, going back to Richardson and his acceleration, see how he's able to cause problems when he's able to beat Ferguson to the outside, but he has difficulty when he has to go head on against him. Now we're going to go inside. At that time I got handled. That's okay. He's allowed to win. Not going to get there every time. I believe there's an 86, 83 differential between the two. Again, the wider the differential, the better the matchup will be for you. And he won again. That time I was able to push him straight back into the quarterback's lap. See how far I'm able to push him back? Let's go to the other defensive tackle spot. You see how he's not strong enough to get off that double team? When he takes it on head on, but at least he's tying up those two guys so they can't help anywhere else. I mean, Kendrick Ellis is not a great pass rusher, but he's able to hold his ground. I mean, he's got Mangold, who's a stud. Mangold's going to be able to hold him up along with Ryan Winters. He's not going to be able to beat those two guys. He's just not good enough for that. But he's able to at least keep himself occupied to allow the other guys to go one-on-one. That time I was just able to eventually split it, but the ball's already out. Alright, let's get a finesse rusher now. Let's find one. All right, here's our finesse rusher. We got Mr. Trent Cole. 83 speed, 91 acceleration. Good athlete. 97 finesse move. Going against the Brickishaw Ferguson. I have him in the dime for, not 4 DLs, LBDE package. Don't quick snap me, computer, and don't let, ugh, hate that. Swim, see that quick swim move? So the swim in this game is a finesse move. I misspoke earlier. Look how fast he gets off, and look how fast he swims inside. Now remember the Brickishaw's strength. Wow, I can't speak today. The Brickishaw has good pass blocking strength, but he can be handled by an athletic guy like this. I dive right by him. But that inside move is no joke. That's no joke. He gets in there in a flash. That's a 97 finesse move by a guy who can really accelerate. The Brickishaw can handle a power rusher. He has much more difficulty handling a speed finesse rusher. Again, that's at the get off. I initiate the move right here on contact. I get a quick inside by moving both sticks right inside. Let's go outside. Spin, whap. You see that? We engage. Because when he engages, he thinks he's going to try to beat you with power. Or he thinks you're going to try to beat him with power, but we come with a spin outside. Whap! Look how effortless that is. That's what a 97 spin move or 97 finesse move looks like. Now I try to beat him with power, go straight down, it doesn't work. I try to take him on head on. Brick can handle this. That's in his wheelhouse. Nothing. Again, nothing. I was able to at least rock him back a little bit. You know, Gino bolted out of there a little bit prematurely. But Brick can handle him much better when I try to play to, you know, his strength. When I use my athleticism, spin inside. So, with the right stick and left stick together to the right, you're going to get either a spin or swim move inside. Left stick, right stick together to the left, you're going to get spin or swim move out. That's your speed rusher, speed finesse rusher. Stick to the left. Both sticks to the left. Outside swim move. Gino made me flop there. Or I flopped too early. Make sure you don't dive too early. Connor Barwin does a straight speed rush out there. Let's try to beat Brick with just straight speed. I want to try to bend around him. I didn't quite get what I wanted there. Almost. Almost just did the speed rush right around him. What you kind of want to do with this speed edge rush here. I got a good charge straight up field right here, but I didn't quite bend enough. I want to try to get this animation right here. You need to do that by staying. I want to get this animation right here. Yeah, here it is. And you get that by staying outside. Here, I started out outside well, but I bent inside. See how I just turned inside too soon? And there he stops me. I need more delicate thumbs. I'm beating him with the outside swim move, but I'm diving too early. There we go. Oh, I almost had it. Almost had it. That was a little bit better. See, Rick is no, slouch. So if you can beat him, you imagine what you're going to do with guys who don't match up with you at all. I'm trying to just bend around him. Almost had it. That's how he held me up there. So you get the idea. So practice those moves with the matchups that are on the field. Use them to your advantage and wreck some shop. Talk to you all later. Peace.